Good morning, distinguished delegates and all protocol observed. As already introduced, my name is Stevenson Ngubane. You may know that George Stephenson invented the steam locomotive, so I could be a distant relative. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a session I'm going to call the panelists. The topic is rail infrastructure development and modernization. Our panelists are Richard from CEO of NGRT. We have seen him yesterday and also at the Garage dinner. So I would like to invite Richard to come up the stage. Thank you, Richard. There's also Ethan Lee. Ethan Lee from Chief Engineer. You come up the stage, please. There's also a space here for How Train. I don't have the name, but How Train is around. They're also part of the panel. We also have Pulane Kingston from VAE. Please come to the stage. Pulane Kingston. We also have Alex from Holysys. Maybe they need some encouragement, audience, our panelists. This was actually, should have been yesterday's panel discussion, but because of time constraint, it was the last event yesterday, and it couldn't be done, but we are trying to fit it today. Okay. All right. We'll proceed anyway. Okay, as a matter of introduction, this topic, rail infrastructure development and modernization. We all know the construction or the laying of the track as the infrastructure. That is the starting point of other things that you want to do. Train operations, signaling, and all the things that we talk about. Very critical to have this infrastructure in place and also to make sure it is maintained, it is upgraded, it is modernized in various ways. But we do have a history in Southern Africa, and I would say Africa as a whole, whereby our infrastructure has been aging. The most important asset for train operations, successful train operations, being subjected to deferred maintenance, which is something that we should not do, but we have done. And therefore, because of our infrastructure, some dilapidation, there has been inefficiencies, slowdowns, speed restrictions, derailments, and so forth. In my experience, I've been to one railway in 2008, and believe me, when I was on a trolley for 1,000 kilometers in that railway, they were telling me the track was late in 1904. So when I was traveling on that track, it was late in 1904. And of course, it had many problems. No train trip could be completed in that section that they showed me. So today, at this conference, we want to look at rail infrastructure. Now, we are talking about transporting Africa forward. There are many programs in business and industry, the Africa continent, free trade area. All that Africa is going to do to intertrade will depend on the efficiency of the rail and, say, road transportation systems. We also know that there are limited networks. We are not reaching all the production centers or the mining centers. So we have a tall order to make sure that the ambitions of AU Agenda 2063, the SADC, agenda is going to be successful in terms of economic development if the players, as we are here, because here we are the players in many ways. We have got railway suppliers, we have got technology suppliers, we have a number of people here at this conference. But the most important thing is that after this conference, are we going to then take action? And of course, we need the support of funds from investment banks and all, so that Africa can actually grow with one of the biggest unemployment rates, I would say, in the world. So it starts by rail infrastructure, network expansion, rail infrastructure, maintenance, upgrades, and so forth. And we also talk of corridors. The corridors have got various track standards, some at 15 tons per axle, some at 18 tons per axle or 18.5, going to 21 tons per axle and 22. Of course, special lines, heavy haul at 26 tons per axle. When you look at a corridor, then the limiting factor is going to be your lowest axle load, and that would determine the length of trains, the capacity of your wagons that you are going to, the gross mass, and all those things. So when you talk of rail infrastructure development, you are then referring to quite a big, an initiative that we have to see in order to achieve uniform or smooth running of trains without breaking them, because you are not, the track has got different standards. Those are the issues on making sure there is development in the track. There is also modernization. You have all the time, so let me give it to you to.
No, thanks, Stevenson. And I think I'm going to walk towards you, and then we can have a kind of not a debate, a one-on-one. Because it's always a pleasure to be the only one on stage, because you can say whatever you want. No one will question you, and no one will doubt you. What I would say, Stevenson, is, and to all the delegates, is do not try to reinvent the wheel. Do not reinvent the wheel. In the industry, let's talk worldwide. In the industry, there is a huge drive of, let's say, using telecommunication. Use that as a word. Telecommunication features. Everybody's talking about, yes, you can do 5G, and then you can do cloud, and then you can do this, and you can do that. Let us talk about XG. For in fact, already today, you have 6, 7, and 8G. Yes, not yet commercialized, but it exists. So don't reinvent the wheel. Going into rail infrastructure development and modernization, you can go back to simplicity. That doesn't mean simple, yet it can be very sophisticated, it can be very modernized, but it can be on simplicity principles. Because in all facts, what we are doing is we want to travel humans or cargo from A to B. That's all. And we want to do it safe. We want to do it in the most cost-efficient, beneficent way. So, innovation is demanding. And yes, there are, excuse my language now, there are some elephants in the industry. 4 or 5 of them, who is dominating nearly everything that happens in the railway industry. My statement, without having a panel, great, is those elephants do not do innovation. Innovation is done by the smaller companies who have the drive, who has the need, because they need to be at the forefront, and then hopefully they will not be swallowed by the elephants down the road. So, key point is, don't reinvent the wheel.
Okay, thank you, Richard. I think one of the questions that you might try to shed some light on, for example, is that what is you are a digital, you are a technology person in the railway industry and maybe other areas. But the question is, what would you say is the absorption rate of railways into appreciating what you bring in to the railways in terms of new technologies that is going to improve our efficiency. And of course, the aspect of working safely, the aspect of maybe seeing ahead when the train is moving, the crew to see or appreciate what is likely to be, because sometimes we've operated railways, I would say in the dark, not seeing obstacles placed on the track, maybe the effects of bad weather, where there could be washaways. I'm looking at, like you, Richard, to say maybe there are things that you have developing, you can share with us, of being proactive as to kind of having a lens that as you drive the trains, there could be danger ahead.
Yeah, happy to do so. But before I do that, I will come with a statement which is probably a little bit unpolitically correct. We have heard over the last couple of days a lot of talks about the ERMTS and the signaling standards and so on. My statement is the ERMTS is an illusion. It will never ever come to a completion. ERMTS, as a European standard signaling system and so on, started 30 years ago. The founder of the ERMTS, he says himself, it has become an illusion. It's come like a patchwork on patchwork on patchwork. You're trying to fix some kind of signaling communication systems with new technologies. The fact is, the telecom industry, the paradigm shift is 3 months. After 3 months, what you have is old. So in terms of addressing what you said, Stephen, what we have done is we have invented a technology which will basically tell you point blank on the second, real time, that yes, you have an anomaly ahead of you. You have either a broken rail, you have a washout, you have a rock slide, mudslide, you have people or human, animal intrusions on the track. So, to your question, Stevenson, there is existing now technologies which actually will enable you to say, well, I should either reduce my speed or I need to halt my operation. And now my panelist delegates has arrived, and then I can leave.
Thank you, Richard, for holding the fort. Would like to welcome 2 more for our panel. This panel has 6 actually panel members, but the number is increasing minute by minute. You are most welcome here. So already we had Richard. We are on rail infrastructure development, as you know, and modernization. What I will do now, I'll give, I think it's Pulani, to introduce yourself briefly, and what you do or your company, and as well as then going into the topic as to what you can share with the audience. Over to you, Pulani.
Well, thank you very much. I apologize, I wasn't aware that I was expected on the panel at this point in time. But it's a great pleasure to be here, and it's lovely to see so many familiar faces after a year of significant change in the rail industry, as well as in the context of our economy. So it's wonderful to see familiar faces, but it's also lovely to see new faces, which to me is indicative of a growing industry despite all of the headwinds. My name is Pulani Chabalala Kingston. I am the Chief Executive Officer of Voestalpine SA Pty Limited, which is the South African subsidiary of Voestalpine Group, an Austrian-listed company. I happen to be the majority shareholder of the South African group. We are regarded as the leaders in the manufacture of turnouts. We are regarded as the experts globally, and we hope that we do bring our expertise not only to South Africa, but across the African continent. We have had a presence in South Africa over the last 28 years, and we continue with building strong partnerships as we go along. We have supplied turnouts of various types, some custom-made, to railway companies or asset owners across the African continent, starting from Egypt through to West Africa in Ghana, and across the SADC region. We try to make our presence felt wherever we operate. Our facility, manufacturing facility, is situated in Isando. And for any of you who have not been to our facilities, you are welcome to come and see how we manufacture these turnouts. We also have a welding facility in Kimberley. And in addition to that, we manufacture and assemble signaling components also from our Isando facility. I think the one point that I do want to make up front is the fact that in our manufacturing process, we try and ensure that we use as much local content as possible. We are very keen in the sense that we employ over 200 employees at our facility and across the business in South Africa. We feel extremely strongly about the principle of local manufacturing, regional integration, economic development. From our point of view, the world was built on thriving manufacturing sectors. So it seems to me that the one conversation that we seem to be skirting over the last 2 days, last year, the year before at Sara, we seem to be skirting the conversation around what it will take for Sara to champion the principle of manufacturing locally. For us in 2025, to still be importing components, parts, which are already manufactured and manufacturable in South Africa and in the Southern African region, SADC, seems unconscionable. We can't hope to create jobs. We can't hope to grow our economies if all we do is cut corners, because it is easier in the context of our procurement processes to simply go for the cheapest bidder. It's something that I believe that we need to look at, and we need to look at carefully. I'm happy to answer the one question about whether or not our infrastructure across the region is in tip-top shape, but we can do so later as the conversation goes.
Thank you, Plane, for that. I think we are getting to appreciate that there is a lot happening in the region, or say in South Africa, being one of the biggest economies in the region and the country. And again, I think we're picking that. But on the part of modernization, your products, I'm sure there's been changes. You talk of turnouts. I think I've seen turnouts usually on wooden slippers, but now there are concrete products of turnouts, and of course even the rails themselves. What would you say about the way that you have pushed the industry to change things for the better, for safer operating of trains, and certain indications as to the state of the points and so forth? Can you just comment on that? I'll then come to you, Ethan, after.
Thank you. So I do think modernization is fundamental, and I would phrase it slightly differently, which is to say that in the process of local manufacturing, and I'm going to come back to it as a key issue again and again, the only way that we can ensure that we have turnouts that are fit for purpose, that are standardized across the region in terms of the regulatory framework, the policy framework, is if within our own manufacturing facilities, we have full-on engineering capability, so that research and development continues. There is no shortage of engineering expertise in Southern Africa. There's none whatsoever. But the moment that we choose to import because it's easier, we lose that. We don't grow that. There was a gentleman yesterday afternoon, I think the Chief Executive Officer of the CSIR, who spoke about the importance of research and development. So when you wrap that around a standardization policy framework that enables interoperability, that ensures that there are spare parts that are readily available in the context of turnouts, we are already on a winning wicket. But for so long as we choose to sacrifice building a thriving manufacturing capacity in our own countries, I think we're lost.
Thank you. A point very well made there. We appreciate that, and I'm sure the audience here, comprising railway operators, suppliers, and service providers, we should not miss the opportunity to source locally, because we strengthen our own manufacturing capacity in the region, as well as, of course, creating the employment we so much need. I give the opportunity now to Ethan to say on rail infrastructure development and modernization. Over
Thank
to
you,
you, sir.
thank you, Chair. So good morning, colleagues and gentlemen, ladies. So I'm from Holysys, and yesterday from Holysys we already introduced our companies with a signaling solution provider, and I'm Alex Pan, is the Deputy General Manager for Holysys South Africa branch, and also for the project manager for our project in KZN. And for Holysys, we mainly we provide the signaling solutions, just including the ETCS, the trackside equipment systems, and CPTC, just for the metro line. And also we provide just mainly 0.5% of Chinese market for the onboard unit. So basically, we provide the system with not only for Chinese standards, but also apply for the, just customized for the local standards. And yeah, and right now we have a project in KwaZulu-Natal with the PTCS project, and we are the leading party for providing the system ETCS level 2. And I think for our project, we already have the relationship with the turnouts company, because I think the project will purchase the turnouts from locally. So basically, that's the Holysys and introduction for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, a question to you, Ethan, or to the rest of the panel, is about the situation of vandalism. We can upgrade our track, we can lay new track, but of course, we're living in times where, unfortunately, there is prevalence of vandalism. We talk of cable theft. It's like now today, if there are any technologies, we should see we should see everything alongside the track, what is happening really in real time, and be able to take action. Can you say a bit more about that, Ethan, about now the track side equipment and all those technologies, to really now, on an instant basis, see who might be encroaching with what intention to our track that we want to protect and run trains safely? Ethan?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So, yeah, for the signaling part, because it's, as I said, it's locally, we have to customize, tailor the solution for South Africa. Different regions have different requirements, especially in Africa. Maybe we're facing the challenge, the vandalism, everything for the track sides, and even the indoor equipment we have to protect properly. For us, Holysys, because why we choose the ETCS, this European Train Control System level 2 to apply for South Africa market and for the project, because it will be minimize the equipment for trackside. As a ETCS level 2, for the tracksides, we only have the ballasts, which is it's no cable, actually no copper cable here. And for the interlocking, we also provide that electronic interlocking, which means there's not much the relay-based interlocking because it's less equipment just installed on the site. And for our solution, we provide to the entire project just the minimize the copper cable usage, which means there's no stressed elements can be stolen or just can be validated. And furthermore, for the installation prospect, we just provide more proper protection mechanism as kind of activities you cannot do. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. I would like Richard to also contribute to this wayside or trying to actually create, we want to see what is happening, who is going to temper about our track on which we depend on in running our trains. Richard.
Well, first of all, providing any equipment or any materials which is 100% theft-proof is not going to happen. You will never, ever be able to do that. What you can do is try to do as much mitigations as you can. And as I said earlier, one of the key factors of that is continuing with innovation. And I'm not going to start a debate with my panelists here of local manufacturing, because then we will probably have a rather heated discussion. But I totally agree. Why do you import things that you can make locally here? We at NGRT, we're going to manufacture all of our equipment here. There is no need to produce that in Europe and to ship it down here. That's nonsense. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense to anyone. What we will probably never do is to give you our IP and our software. But manufacturing hardware, by all means. We will also have local installers, local maintainers, creating jobs locally. But in terms of what you just mentioned, Stevenson, we can only do as much as we can to provide vandalism and so on. From our recent experience with one of our clients here in Africa, they requested broken rail detection from us, and we gave it to them. And then suddenly, our team discovered, oh, there are some people on their track. So we said, okay, what do we do now? Morally, do we tell them that they have intrusions on the track, or do we not? So yes, we did so. And in fact, that what was happening was that there was some people trying, and I'm not joking, trying to cut off the power cable for the third rail on a metro. And anybody who knows what third rail is and power knows that if you tamper with that, when it's on, it's kind of a little bit dangerous. So yes, there are existing technologies which can actually provide you with notification, vandalism, theft, etc.
Thank you for that response. I'm coming back to you, Plane, but I would like really the floor to say something, because Plane has presented that, you know, we still go out there and look for supplies across overseas, whatever. Of course, it's a free world. You buy where you want, but we also know the challenges when you don't have the technical backup services, or they are far away, you know, and also the supply of spares. Now, before Polane comments again, anybody on the floor to say, well, look, we know what they produce, however, we still exercise our rights because we look at cost effectiveness, you know, prices and so forth, even after the shipping costs and so forth. If you have got, just raise your hand and address that question or that comment. I'm looking around. Oh, there is a hand over there. Do we have a mic?
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Taf Sitole from Gibela Rail Consortium. I think the issue of localization is it goes to the core of business. And that's how economies are built all over the world. So there is always a contradiction, which is about the commercial agenda of the OEMs and the commercial agenda of the locals in that particular country. However, the catalyst of that, it becomes government. When governments comes and say this is the project, if it's not going to be clearly articulating the targets and the compliance on localization, then there's no OEM which will do it willy-nilly. Because when OEMs comes into a country, they already have other projects. So to maximize their margins, they are going to go to the suppliers because in most cases, they are not manufacturers. They control the supplier at the back. So they will go to the supplier and say, you give me this for this price because I guarantee you to supply other projects. So if there is no compliance requirements, nothing drives them to do that. So therefore, our experience is the fact that you have to have a regime, a regulatory regime, which drives localization. Because commercially, as private sector, we are driven by profits. We have no mandate to build economies. That's not our mandate. And therefore, where I do business need to be the one who drives the localization. So African governments need to understand that as long as in these big projects, they allow OEMs to deliver end products and not necessarily develop a regulatory regime which then determines how those end products are going to. And maybe what I would like to support what Pulani is saying is that Sara is a good platform for us to engage. And maybe we need to have a session next year where OEMs begins to say, what is it that they would like to have for them to find it positively engaged with local partners to deal with localization. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that input. We need to increase the local content, the partnering with the, my time is very limited, but we will take the comment from the gentleman.
Hi, my name is Kombelani from BBR. I think I'll be on the next session that will come in. I would like Richard and Madam from Gibela to be there as well. So these two have got contradictions, but at the same time, they are on the same path because they are all crying protectionism. Africa was so used to protectionism that we've become lazy in being innovative. Richard, you're talking about elephant in the room. You are the elephant because you are talking about IP protection. Most of people who have advanced, look at Elon Musk, everything is there. So at the end of the day, source sharing develops your product. You become better if you share. Because right now you become an elephant because you're just protecting your thing. We need to learn one or two things from the case study of the Chinese in the 90s. They did reverse engineering of so many things, bypassing the IP protectionism, of which if you stop being lazy, you realize that we can do a lot. So attend my session and I will feed you more. Thanks.
Thank you for that contribution. It can be a long debate and deep debate about this. But I just want to give, my time is up. I want to give Poland because I promised to do so. Can I have the mic, Stanley?
We have a mic here.
Oh, you have a
Thanks.
mic. Please
Thank you
proceed.
very much. I think the gentleman over there and his staff have answered most of what I was going to say, but I'd like to add 2 points. The one, again, is to emphasize the fact that we have the engineering capacity, we have the design capacity, and we have a whole CSIR which we are not using to the best of its ability. In terms of developing our own IP, I have yet to see South African companies, South African OEMs going to other countries, by the way, or any in Southern Africa, to Southeast Asia or to Europe, and for them to be welcomed with open arms in the way that we have in this environment. So I think there's a fundamental problem there. And my view is, if there's one thing that Sara can deliver on for all of us, it is to drive that agenda. For me, I would feel that our membership fee has been well spent, because it is the one most important elephant in the room. That's the one point. The last point, which was just brief, I agree with you about the fact that you can never get rid of vandalism altogether. You can only innovate and improve. But the other side to this, from my perspective, is for so long as we shirk away from the responsibility of holding the government to account in ensuring that there is a robust system in place for dealing with crime, especially when it comes to state assets, I think we can innovate as much as we like. Nothing will change. Vandalism will continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Pulani. I'll take those as your closing remarks. I'll give Ethan for closing remarks a few seconds, then I'll come to Richard. Ethan, your closing remarks on this topic.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think just add on this for the localization things, average IP protection. From my point of view, just, localization is not saying there's a local manufacturer maybe sometimes. It's you have to deliver some technology, upgrade the whole, the platform for the problem. Yeah. So I think for the long term, this localization just creates a job, but for the long term things, this is just a Chinese saying, which is it's better you teach the person how to fish rather than you just give the fish directly to him. Yeah.
Okay.
So for the company, for the OEM, as Holysys, we have the project here, and we are gonna deliver not only the solution, not only the equipment system, but also we deliver this technology transfer, which I think this will help Africa. South African people they have the engineers, technicians, the ability to have the capability to perform better and make the railway industries better. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ethan. 2 words or 3, Richard.
Oh, that's going to be hard. No, but from my side, I think that everybody in this room have the same kind of drive, wish, and let's say direction. We are here. I'm Norwegian, European. I cannot say that I'm South African, but I sometimes say that, well, I'm a person of the world, because I visit a lot of cities, a lot of countries. And what we would like to do is to bring our knowledge and contribute to the growth locally. That is probably the best political correct sentence I've ever said the whole day. And then I will accept any challenges. If I'm becoming an elephant, I'm going to start run a little bit more so I can decrease a little bit to become a less elephant. But no, the fact is that being 6 minutes over time, I wish and I hope that everybody in this room have the same kind of drive and direction.
Thank you. At this point, I just want for me to say our topic, we cannot remain as we are. We have to extend our infrastructure, rail infrastructure. We have to maintain it, we have to upgrade it, we have to modernize it. If we don't do all those three or four things, how are we going to actually assist economic growth? How are we going to, in Africa, inter-country trade, which is the big thing, the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, how will it be successful? Because we need that. So we have to see ourselves running safer trains on a very good track than to allow our track to deteriorate. We have to modernize it, deal with the issues of vandalism, encroachments into the reserve of the railways. Let us give a hand of applause to our panelists. And thank you very much. Thank you very much. I have been taught discrimination, so I will practice it as well. And give the lady.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Can we give them a round of applause? I'm just running